Hello, everyone. My name is Loren Koenig. You will hear people refer to me by various pronouns, which is fine, so please do the same. We're going to move into this panel on Wikidata and Wiki Tech, focusing on sort of the cogs and gears behind Wikipedia, Wikidata, and the sister projects. How many of you are on Wikipedia right now on their mobile devices? Okay. So we will have a presentation on the mobile editor for Wikipedia by Jess Klein, she, her, hers, who is with the Wikimedia Foundation that provides the technical infrastructure for running Wikidata, Wikipedia, and all the sister projects. Jess is the senior user experience designer on the editing team and is dedicated to connecting people and ideas through new technologies and interactive experiences. There's Jess. We will then have a presentation by Kenneth Seals-Nutt, who is a researcher in computer science and a software engineer and focuses on cultural heritage and digital preservation projects. And Kenneth will speak about how to get data out of the Wikimedia universe in a way that is not directly the usual user interfaces. So for the more developer-minded people among you, that's going to be interesting. And also for anyone who's interested in projects that focus on underrepresented groups. And we will have a demo by Daniel, who goes by he, who's a Wikipedia editor of 6 years and develops user scripts, tools, bots, which are sort of the community contributed part of the cogs and gears that run the Wikimedia projects. Think of the Wikimedia Foundation provided technology as more the basic infrastructure, you know, roads, and scripts, tools, and bots would be sort of the self-driving cars that are soon gonna populate those roads and assist the humans and so on. So with that, I'm gonna give it up for Jess Klein on focusing on the visual editor.
Thanks. Constant reminder of my height. Should I go into presentation? So my name is Jess Klein, as you mentioned earlier, and I am working on the visual editor tool. So for many of you, when you go into edit, you might not even realize that something is called visual editor. But what it is when you go in and you click down the pencil and you click on text that's not markup, you know, that's not wiki text, that's visual editor. So that's what I'm working on. I joined the foundation over the summer, so I'm fairly new. You probably all know more than I do about it, you know, editing and life as a Wikimedian, and I would love to learn from you. So let's just move on really quickly. So the work that I do is really based, you know, rooted in the foundation, and in that I mean we're rooted in the mission of the larger organization. So my goal is to empower and engage people around the world to collect. Can you hear me better now? Hello? Okay. To really collect and develop educational content, but I'm creating the tools to enable you to do that. Specifically, the foundation is focused on what's called knowledge equity. So we want to make it easy for anybody, no matter where they are and no matter what devices they're using, to really become editors and share their knowledge freely. So the question I've been asked a lot is why mobile? Because many people here, actually, how many people here edit using mobile? Well, so I would say about maybe 5% of the room, which is pretty exciting and matches some of the statistics I'll show later. But the idea is that this is where editors are going to be going. This is what we are projecting. when we look at the statistics and we look at the trends right now, desktop page views are going down and mobile page views are going up. Editing is, constantly increasing on mobile. And the page views on mobile is increasing to correspond with that. So right now we have about 7.1% of edits are being done from mobile devices, and then we have 50% and counting page views happening on mobile. So 7.1% sounds like a pretty low number, but it's actually a pretty significant number because it gives us this opportunity to reach out to the larger audience of people who are going to be accessing the content through their phones. And particularly in places that maybe are only accessing Wikipedia from their phone. So as a designer for the foundation, what I did in order to understand and dive into this project is to really start to look at who is using the tools that we're creating. And we came up with 3 personas. We came up with actually many, many more personas, but I'm focusing on 3 of them. And a persona is really a tool that we use to help us to understand not just who's using Wikipedia, but how they're using Wikipedia, what are their goals for editing, and specifically, what are their goals for editing on the phone. So here's a few I'm just gonna share. One is the knowledge sharer. Does anybody identify as a knowledge sharer? Somebody who's just really eager and keen to share their specific area of interest on the web? A few knowledge sharers. Then we have reactive correctors. These are not people who are like checking their phones and doing spell check edits. They might be someone who's reading an article and just thinks, wow, this could be reworded a lot better. Any of those? A lot of reactive correctors. And then audience builders, some people call these movement builders. People who are like trying to empower their students to edit or trying to get other people to develop identity on Wikipedia. Any of those? Just a few. That's great. So as we were starting to do this, I took the personas and then we went into to map what everybody is doing and how they are working, what are their workflows like when they are editing on Wikipedia on the phone. And we got really down into the details here, and I'm happy to share this with anybody who really wants to know more. But what I learned was that there are several challenges for people who are editing. Many people are, not sure what the rules are to edit. Some people feel uncomfortable because they think it's going to be too time-consuming, and they look at the tools and they're like, "Oh my God, this is a lot." But all of the challenges that we found had one thing in common: focus. People lost their inability to focus when they were editing on mobile. Whether it was literally because they couldn't find the article on their screen when they went from reading to editing, or whether they were trying to edit and when they put their keyboard up, they couldn't find the part of the screen that they were looking at. It just became really overwhelming. And so we identified 6 kind of pain points for losing focus: bearing, contextuality. But these are all kind of like nautical terms, but they're kind of just like different places where we could potentially help users to become better editors and make the simple act of editing actually simple instead of a higher barrier to getting the information into the platform. So what I did, like any good designer would do, is that I went to Pinterest and I went to Slack and I asked people how they focus and how they get better at focusing. And I actually came up with 4 specific answers. So this is actually a screenshot one from the Wikimedia Slack channel. And I very randomly asked people, what techniques do you use to stay focused? Nothing about Wikipedia, just in general life, what do you do to focus? And so people said basically that they reduce stimulation, they put all their attention on one thing, they prepare themselves, and they work efficiently. This was also validated through many searches that I did in magazine articles and different kinds of how-to articles, which I know is probably not a valid Wikipedia source, but it was a very useful source for me in terms of designing principles for doing the mobile design work. So now we have these 4 principles, so that when you're using your phone, you should be doing one thing at a time. You shouldn't be focusing on every single different interaction that's possible. You should be setting the stage for interaction. So that means that we should make it easier for you to be able to come to the app. It shouldn't be your work to come to the tools and make the edits. It should be ours. Reduce your stimulation, get all the clutter out of the way, and work efficiently. Let's make it easier for you to know what to do so that you are not trying to figure out what to do to make your edits. So what we do is we work through this open design process, which has 2 phases, discovery and delivery. Right now I'm in the delivery phase where I'm trying to make some prototypes to help people to get better at focusing while they're editing. So the first problem that I thought was a good one to focus on is that people lose their focus due to performance issues. So when you are in a slow bandwidth environment, for example, maybe a conference with really great Wi-Fi, you might get this kind of screen when you are waiting for the page to load. Some people get really freaked out by that and actually aren't aware that they are loading the page. So that's an opportunity for us to start to give people some hints that they are actually about to go onto the page to edit. Another problem is that when people get into the page, to edit, they kind of can't figure out where they are. There's so much information, they lose their scroll, they can't figure out where in the article that they intended to edit, how to get back to that part. So our solution to that is removing everything and just focusing in directly on the section editing, which you're not actually able to do at this point in time on the mobile web. And the third problem, which is a little bit exciting, is the loss of focus due to, the toolbar changes various states while you're editing. So when you are looking at it at the toolbar at the beginning and you click, you want to edit, it jumps and it changes and it has different buttons than it did when it started. So this is an opportunity for us to streamline that and make it a little bit easier. But since I said we're in this together and we have an open design process, and I suspect there's a lot of editors here, I would love if you were to, today, to use your phone and check out the mobile web prototype. So you can go to this address, which I'll just like a dork read out loud, which is wikimedia.org/wiki/talk/wiki visual editor on mobile, and give us some feedback on the prototype. Let us know what's working, what's not working, if this is expected behavior. This is just the beginning of probably many different prototypes that we'll be doing, but I'd like to start to develop a community to tell me what I should be focusing on. Thank you for your time, and I look forward to questions later.
Well, thanks, Jess. Next up is going to be Kenneth. And he will, I think, find his presentation himself.
Thank you. All right, I'm going to actually open up a couple links as well. Thank you. Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Kenneth Sealsnut, and I'm one of the co-founders and the developer of Science Stories. And what this is an application that uses 2 of the most prominent Wikimedia projects in Wikimedia, English Wikipedia, as well as Wikimedia Commons, and trying to find links to make Wikidata much more accessible and much more easy for a user to get access to that content. On top of that, we're trying to incorporate other ways to display rich multimedia in the form of data visualizations and through university and manuscripts and archives collections to display them in a place that anyone on the web can access. But our main goal in this project is to truly tell the lives of incredible people. Our focus is on pioneering women in STEM, just so that we kind of ground our efforts in something very specific and tangible we originally started this project focusing on 5 women that attended Yale University or performed research on behalf of the university without really any recognition while they were in their time there, due to the fact that before 1969 there was no co-education for undergraduates at the campus, but they allowed women to participate in academic research and receive PhDs in other forms of higher education up until that point. So our project first was trying to highlight the women that were in this in-between time period. There was a lot of excellent contributions made, and we really wanted to showcase, as Yale puts on a celebration this coming year for their 100th anniversary of, or 50th anniversary of coeducation at Yale. And since developing, we've grown to currently there's 553 stories, and this does not just include people at Yale. We've broadened this, this scope to what we consider women pioneers in science. And we're also looking to expand that as well into to be more inclusive of other minority groups and the queer community as well. And so how it works is that we really want to leverage tools that are on the web that are already publicly available and putting them all into one place. And we do that in a way that we can have social media sharing at ease. Right now we find that on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook, it's easy to share a Wikipedia article, but a lot of the times people don't click because there's not images. Well, there's images on Commons, but a lot of people don't know that they can share those as links to sources about who this person is. So we're really trying to bridge those gaps. And like I mentioned with Wikidata, just to give some context, this is what it looks like when you go to Grace Hopper, who was a very early on computer scientist who helped start most of the trends that we use today. And this is what it will look like if you went to a Wikidata web page, where it gives you structured content in the form of linked open data, so that you see very clear what and who this person is in a very structured format. And then on the other side, you can go to the Wikipedia article, which gives you much more variety of free text. But the issue is there's no way to really automate what's on the page, and being able to show that in rich, meaningful ways by just using Wikipedia alone. So we decided to find ways to fuse those two together. And let me take you to what it looks like as Grace Hopper's story on our site. And while this loads, just to give a little background, our main idea behind this as a presentation tool is to make it in a set of moments or slides, as if you were looking at a PowerPoint presentation. That makes it easy for someone that's maybe a teacher, which we actually have elementary school teachers using this in the classroom. They can click through and give actual, moment by moment, or have categorized sections of influence to engage their students. We're really trying to focus on things that are very visual for people that don't really have the attention span to have a full in-depth reading, but really want to be able to grasp the contributions. So for special collections that have multimedia, we want to be able to highlight all three, having the image, having that structured data in the form of Wikidata, and having that free and open text that comes with the Wikipedia projects. And that's through the form of IIIF. And what this allows us to do is, actually, let me zoom in a little bit. I actually have a backup demo. Can't get the cursor to work for me, but I have an image of what this looks like. Here, where you can hover over an image an annotated form of an image, and on the fly, it will gather structured data from Wikidata to tell you quick facts about who this person is, as well as provide the summary that forms in Wikipedia to give more of a quick paragraph form of what their contributions and a highlight of their life. And so this has been really impactful for not only people and places, but also for academic writing and putting in publications where we can have annotated notes of whenever someone is mentioned, we could annotate exactly who these people are that are contributors to the work. We can highlight in the form of rich annotations, and as well as drawings. A lot of times, having drawings that the person actually took work creating is a great way for us to show and provide context to what's actually in the image. This is an example of Grace Hopper describing the full tree of life of computers up until her time of being in the research. And so this will allow people that are interested in what, learning or telling someone what is a ENIAC machine. They can see an image on the fly, a preview, as well as the quick facts. And outside of that, we really wanted to make this a place for aggregating much wider audience and a much wider net of the web outside of the Wikimedia projects. So we've been able to incorporate with YouTube to have embedded videos, as well as having rich data visualizations provided through Wikidata that would point directly to links for more information. And so our site is at sciencestories.io, and feel free to look through. We have a browse of every person that we've focused on so far, and that's on this browse tab here. And right now we're upwards of 500 people, and every day we're constantly trying to grow. So thank you.
Thanks, Kenneth. We are moving on to Daniel, and I think he's going to show us some user scripts and tools that he wrote or uses. Come on.
Hey, everybody. Am I good? Okay. I am Daniel. On Wiki, I'm user enterprisey, and I write a lot of user scripts, bots, tools, and whatnot. I'm going to be demonstrating a few of them today. I think they're pretty cool, and I have one prototype or mock-up. So let's get started. To begin, one of these pages is going to take a very long time to load, so that's not how you type. So I'll let that load in the background while I run everything else. Okay, cool. Okay, moving on. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is obviously user scripts. And one thing I work a lot on is user scripts that are intended for new users. But there's a fundamental problem there, which is that the user script installation process often takes a lot of effort and is opaque for new users. And one thing that can alleviate this is the gadget system, which is where you install JavaScript onto your account by just checking a checkbox in the preferences, and it's very straightforward. And if we just had a gadget that did that, then you could just do the same process for all the other user scripts and sort of get that started. So I recently wrote something that should help with that. It's a user script, and once you install it, once you install it, you can visit the page of any other user script and quickly install that. So I'm going to walk you through the process of installing that because I didn't put that on my account first. So this is a weird step, but it should, as soon as it's a gadget, it'll stop being necessary. So I'm going to type some weird stuff. Scroll down quickly. Descriptive edit summary. Where's the enter key? And we're good. Cool. So now I'm going to walk you through the process of installing like a user script. So let's say you want to install the script I'm demoing next. So you go to the page for that, which is enterprisey/quick before. You read the documentation, looks pretty good, navigate to it. And before you would have to do the same thing I did earlier where you typed in the weird command, but now there's an install button at the top and you can just click that and install it. And then you can manage all of your user scripts here. There are not too many, but those of you who are familiar with the old script installer can see that there's some new things here. And what I decided was that for experienced coders, there are a lot of tools that are available with user scripts, like you can temporarily remove them, you can make it so that they only run on one skin. And these are not available to people with the standard script installer, so I added them as extra links so what you can do is you can move them to other pages. And what that just means is you can say, like, there's a skin I want to use this for. Skins are selectable in the preferences, and you can just type in one of those and go for it. The next script, so that's going to be a gadget pretty soon. So that means that with new users, all I can do is tell them to go to preferences and click a checkbox, and then they have the whole array of user scripts open. But like, why would people want to install user scripts, right? Here's an example. This one is pretty helpful for new users. Let's go to a random article. And let's say I want to find more sources for this. There are a lot of ways to do this. You could open a bunch of search engine searches. That's pretty tedious. What if we had something that opened the search engine searches pre-filled? So I added something called before. Before is like an acronym, but it just means like, do lots of research on it. So what that is that's the find sources template, but it's personalized for the specific page. So what you can do is you can open in a bunch of new tabs, and it'll be the respective searches with the search term already in there. There's going to be a button pretty soon to like open all of them in separate tabs. That's going to be helpful for people trying to check sources for an article. Maybe you want to put it up for deletion or something nicer. So now we can go back to this page, which has been loading in the background. This is a bit more back-endy, but this is for like back-end people, but there's a page called perm where you request like specific permissions to be added for your account, and there was no good search tool for that. So I wrote one, so now you can, sort these, and you can inspect all sorts of, and you can run all sorts of queries against this now. That's pretty cool. The next thing I'm going to talk about is something I'm calling cite that, which is a problem that I've found a lot while patrolling like recent changes made to Wikipedia, which is somebody will add a sentence to an article, and they might not be familiar with the rules of Wikipedia, so that they might not have included a source at the end of it. And that's a pretty big problem. And what will happen often is that a recent changes patroller will come along, and what you're theoretically supposed to do is just put a source on the end of that, or put a citation data tag on the end of that, right? But the interfaces that are available to these patrollers prioritize quick action like reverting the edit or ignoring it, right? And none of these are really good for the new editor because they're going to see their nice edit, which they think is perfectly correct, and it's just going to vanish like that. So I'm trying to make a new tool for reviewers that will let them quickly add citation data tags or like citations themselves to the end of the thing. I've done a quick mock-up of that. I don't know where it is. It's hopefully in this thing. There it is. Okay, let's see if I can present this. Oh wait, that's not the. Let's try multiple things at the same time. Well, that worked. Sort of. Better. Everyone can sort of see that. So that's a sample diff page. That's what people who are reviewing new pages see. We're going to have to scroll like this. So what I've added is it'll be a button that appears on this page, and it'll zoom in on the sentence that you added in the edit, and it'll show a bunch of places and opportunities for adding citations and citation data tags. And it'll be a radial menu because radial menus are cool, and it'll give you a bunch of options like citation needed, add the citation, add a talk page message to the user. That's a lot nicer than the standard vandalism messages that are like, hey, you add a sentence, but you may need to add a few sources to it first. Here are some links that can help you get started with that. And then there's some other messages too, like maybe you added something that's promotional, but like you're not going to give them like the standard warning for that because maybe it was clearly a good faith edit. So, and then once you click on one of those, it'll give you even more options for this to narrow it down to the specific template you want to use. So that's going to come pretty soon. I proposed it on the wish list, but it didn't make it, so I'll do it myself. It'll come up eventually, I'm sure. Okay, so the final thing I'm going to do is called reply link. Cool. This is my favorite script I've written on Wikipedia. You're going to see why pretty shortly. So I haven't navigated to a talk page yet on this account, so let's do that, and ignoring the fact that this ignores hotkeys. Okay, so you look at all the signatures on this talk page, and there's something about these signatures. You're not sure what. Yes, it's a little link at the end that says reply to everything. So what if you could click on the link at the end of a signature, and it opens a little box that you can type your reply into so that you don't have to go through the whole process of editing the discussion. And then you can enter a sensible reply like this, and you can click reply, and hopefully this works. Great, excellent. So I first introduced this a year ago. Thanks. Yeah, it's pretty hype. I'm going to make this a gadget too. Who uses it? A bunch of people. It's a great script. Yeah, it's going to be a gadget soon as I stabilize it. So I've been stabilizing it for like the past year because like people tend to participate in discussions in lots of interesting ways, but it's recently reached a pretty huge milestone, which is it can reply almost basically everywhere that like you want to reply at, like all the notice boards, all the village pumps, certainly your own talk page, article talk pages, and so on. And what's also cool is that it's gone global recently. I've been working on localizing it, so pretty soon you're going to be able to use it on like Commons, Meta, French Wikipedia. I've recently made it work on Portuguese Wikipedia because somebody asked me very nicely. But it works there. It's pretty cool. That will be stabilized as a gadget pretty soon, and it has a bunch of features, like you can write a more sensible reply than the last one, and you can preview it. So you can do all sorts of cool things like that, like transclude the main page. See if this works. All right, that's not sad. Oh, it needs to be the main page. That's the main page. There we go. So it's the whole main page. So if you want to reply to somebody with the whole main page, you can do that. So that's pretty cool. That's all the demos I have. Looking forward to questions.
Thanks, Daniel, for this nice demo. So to give a brief recap before we go into the questions portion, we had Jess Klein, who explained from a Wikimedia Foundation perspective how development is being done on some of the user interfaces. We had just now Daniel, who told us how the community can extend the user interfaces. And we heard from Kenneth, who showed some ways in which the data that's being put in by editors can be used in alternate ways in different user interfaces. So we have some time for questions, if anyone has any questions.
Yes. Right here in the front.
This is for the Wikidata person. I have a question just in terms of how much of that data that you end up using, where it comes from in the Wikipedia page, because I know some people here might know there's issues with info boxes and people don't like them sometimes, and one of the arguments for them is that they make Wikidata much easier. So I'm wondering, besides just like info box fields, like what other ways you can pull the information off Wikipedia and other Wikimedia sources?
Yeah, so there's actually a lot of projects tackling this that I don't want to step on any toes because there are people that can give you a really good answer, my naive answer, because I've not actually tried to scrape web pages and convert them into Wikidata. But I know the going through the Wikimedia API, which is how we use the data, is they provide nice ways to provide summaries, and through those summaries, even like summaries by section, you can turn that into statements with batch edits. There's a project called Quick Statements where you can what we've been doing is manually, like as someone's reading the article, having a field on the other side, like have another tab open using Quick Statements of just going in and editing, converting those handwritten statements into structured linked open data. But yeah, I don't have a better answer for how to do that automated.
All right, in the back here. Bring you the mic.
I saw that through your science something or other website that people could add information about images on Wikimedia Commons, and I was wondering if that information is then at all pushed back into the Wikidata or Wikimedia system.
Absolutely. So the way it works is anything that comes from either Wikipedia or Wikidata, we never like store a local cache of it or have like a copied version. We're getting that data 100% on the fly whenever you load the page, so that whenever someone says, hey, maybe this isn't right, I can make an edit and it instantly shows up. If you make an edit on Wikidata, it would instantly show up on our site. And then for annotating images, right now they're all linked on their Wikidata identifier. So when you're going on to make an annotation, you're not annotating open text, you're just providing the Wikidata identifier, so then that keeps it consistent with the Wikidata page.
Cool. Other questions for any of the panelists? All right.
This concerns the visual editor. This is more specific, but I use both the source editing and visual editing for different things. One thing that's really annoying, like with the visual editor, is let's say I'm setting a link for the New York Times. I put in all the information. It automatically does things including the date, but the date is always in the year-month-day format. And often I have to go back to, I have a script that allows to be changed to for instance, February 2nd, 2018 or whatever, but that requires me to go back and doing those edits. I don't know if something can be done with the visual editor, so there are options in terms of settings, in terms of dates.
Yeah, that is definitely a specific problem, but I think it's great. I mean, first of all, the thing I would do is that anybody could file a bug or tell us if there's a problem with it on Fabricator. So can send you, if you check out the, I think I can actually link to the agenda, right? Can I link? Yeah. I'm going to link to the agenda. I'm going to link my slide deck to the agenda so that you can access all of my links and so you can add any edits. But additionally, we're taking a look at user settings right now. So we're looking at what are the common tasks that people are doing, where people are getting stuck, and trying to figure out, like if something in the interface is blocking you from doing what you want to do, then we need to fix that. And so this is great for you to tell me. So thank you for sharing.
Great. And I think one more, and there's a question up here.
Hi, I have a question for Daniel. A question about the before search. I was just wondering if it opens up into strictly search engines, or does it search other types of interfaces?
Yeah. I copied it from the template that is known on Wiki as Find Sources AFD, which is it. At the end, there's like JSTOR and stuff. Let's see if I can find. Oh, how do you reload? Okay. Let's see. Yeah, so it has a bunch of Google stuff, and then at the end, there's like HighBeam, JSTOR, NYT, Wikipedia library, and that sort of thing. It's actually a good idea to let people customize it, but that's a bit of work to let people to produce a good interface to let people customize it, but that's definitely on the roadmap. If you want to do it yourself, there's a template for that purpose. Meta? No. Common? Okay, let's just try Find Sources. And then there's a bunch of stuff, but the most important part is that there's something that lets you put in a short abbreviation for a given source, and then this is a weird, yeah, there's a bunch of search engines that are available, and I think you can add more. And then what it'll let you do is, what I should let you do in theory is let you type in one of these shortcodes, and then the searches for that will get added to all subsequent searches at the top. So yeah.
Thank you so much. So everyone, please join me in thanking our panelists.
And yes, of course, you can add to the agenda. It's a wiki conference, so the agenda can be edited.